got my laces tied. My trusty podcast by my side. If you wanna talk fun, it's the place to be. Yeah, it's the drop, D-R-O-P.
Hey, this is Taylor with Believe in the Run.
And Reese with Believe in the Run.
And you... Oh.
I was going to say, do you notice my shirt?
I noticed your shirt.
Anyone
I got the same one.
You have it?
I should be wearing it.
That would be cool. So if you're listening
Describe your shirt.
Yeah, if you're listening and you can't see me, which, I got a face for podcasts. I'm in the Teva Adventure Bureau of Adventure hoodie, which I highly recommend that everyone watch our TRE Teva interview. The guy Nick we were just vibing, and I was really excited about their Bureau of Adventure, and they hooked me up with a t-shirt, a hat, and a sweatshirt that is now going to be what I live in all winter.
Well, I think we mentioned it like a couple weeks ago when we were doing our TRE recap, but it's just fun when people are so passionate about something. And yeah, that Teva interview was definitely up top 3 for the weekend. And I was just going to mention too, of those videos that we put up, there's like 3 that are kind of lower in terms of views, but are the most intriguing to me, or like I thought were like the most intriguing shoes or like best interviews. And so if you haven't, go check out the Merrill interview, the Teva interview, and the Innovate interview. And so I think those shoes are really, all of what they have to offer is really cool, unique, and they were just fun interviews. But yeah, have you gotten any sandals yet? I know they're going to be sending you some.
No, I haven't, but I was messaging Nick on Instagram, and I was like, okay, I think we need to do a Teva, because in the interview, I was like, I'm ready to join this cult. And I was like, let's do a Teva Believe in the Run cult initiation somewhere in the Canyonlands situation. And I think he was down. Like, I think it could happen. This is 2026. I'm really angling. I'm pushing hard on Teva.
Well, I was thinking here last week you were saying that you'd sign up for being a North Face athlete, but I think Teva is maybe more your style. A sandal for everything.
Yeah, agreed.
I can see it now. Okay,
but like real talk, the sponsored athlete situation, I think, a lot of people go for that, right? Like if you're an athlete, like that is the thing. But as a gear reviewer, I get the best of all worlds, because like I can choose what shoe I want to wear for any race. Yep. Because, like there are certain brands that if you were sponsored by them, either they lack a shoe in the lineup, or like they just might not be perfect for every single race condition. And for me, I love sitting in front of all of my shoes and being like, what is it going to be?
Yeah, well, the only issue, and people are just going to be like, oh, really, Taylor, about this?
Right.
The biggest issue is that often we have so many shoes to review of like, when I do get the chance to just pull something off the shelf by choice, it's so rare. Like, I think like 2 times last year, there was a lull right after all the spring things. But then there weren't a lot of trails just open up and readily available, especially as a teacher, to like get out at a decent time to run. So that would be the only thing. But I do think as gear reviewers, we have, I'd say our quote unquote contract is better than most out there.
Yeah. And I almost want, and maybe this is like an episode we do in January. Mm-hmm. I think I would love to take viewer or listener. I would want, listener advice on what shoe to use for Black Canyon 100K.
Ooh, okay.
I'm already spiraling out about what shoe to wear.
Yeah.
So I would love,
Well,
as a
let's do something
reviewer,
from the
yeah,
top. Yeah,
yeah,
let's do something from the top here. We were going to save this for the end, but we're going to talk about a shoe today, the
yeah.
Adidas Terrex Agravic Speed Ultra 2, the ASU2. And I know you got this, I got this, and it's available now. So it's the update to one of the most prominent trail super shoes, maybe the one that kind of I just did a first thoughts video, so I have some ideas right off the top of my head of I think this is the one that kind of defined the more traditional sense, in the more traditional sense of a trail super shoe, which having like some sort of super foam, a mechanism that's helping with propulsion, and just really lightweight. And so that recipe is just made lighter and more comfortable in V2. And I've been waiting to hear your thoughts on it. I've got almost all my runs in it to pull together a review, but I want to hear some of your thoughts.
Okay, well maybe we'll go back to early 2024. I was doing a race, and I'll bring it around. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I was doing a race in Moab, and someone near me was wearing the original, the V1 Agravic. We'll call it ASU.
Yep.
So they were wearing that, and I just was behind them, watching them just annihilate their ankles. I was like, oh my God, this is just killing me. And I have the shoe, the original, and on Strava, I've nicknamed it the Bosu ball because
Yes, that's a great way. Yeah.
it's like really aggressive shape ups, and which is really simplifying it. But then fast forward to JFK, and again, I'm watching people on the Appalachian Trail, and they're like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm just so paranoid about my ankle that I'm watching people, and this guy in front of me is just, his ankle's going for it, and he ends up falling in front of me. And so I was like, oh man, rough choice for a shoe. Like, you gotta have, I feel like it's a shoe that you almost need to train to wear. And which brings me around to my experience with this shoe. My first run in it, I actually feel like I run differently. Like, I was sore. My hamstrings felt like I
Kind of like
used
when
them
you throw on a
differently.
pair of Ultras, like you run a little bit differently, but in a much different way here, of course.
Yeah, like I felt like my quads and hamstrings were like, they definitely were being used in ways I haven't used them. And
Yeah.
same with like my stabilizer muscles in my ankles. And when I looked at the shoe, like the back, the heel of the shoe, I would say a good 1.5, at least 1.5, 2 inches of it never touched the trail ever.
Yeah, of course. And I think to your point of there's a certain athlete that's going to do best in this. Whereas you can take many road marathon shoes, no matter the pace, you can have a fairly similar experience. This is one of those shoes that is very different from many others because, like you said, there's that forward backward rocker motion, but with the Bosu ball reference, I really like that. There's also like a rocker side to side, and so it has this, and it was designed this way. And we put this in our original review of like having more of like I call it a gyrosphere like.
Whoa.
Yeah. Does that catch
Yeah.
if I say it like that? So it's kind of like a gyrosphere like rocker. So it's always bringing you back to center if you can. But the trick is you have to be able to land midfoot or forefoot.
Yes.
If you're landing heel, there's such an aggressive rocker in all directions that it's not going to be efficient, likely. It's going to be just harder to control. And that's where I've seen, at least in my own experience, most of the ankle instability. Like, I just imagine Robbie, like, it'd be like someone wearing high heels. That's what Robbie would be like in this shoe.
Yeah.
Just, it has the sensation of being always unstable
Yeah.
unless you're in a certain, like, foot strike.
And it's an interesting shoe because, like, when you see people try on shoes, and I do this too, you try on a shoe for the first time, your first thing that you do is you walk around, you like stand on your toes, you bounce, but you just like walk around. And certain shoes with aggressive rockers, you walk in it and you're like, this is awful to walk in. But I'm like, well, you're not supposed to be walking in it. Like,
Yeah,
remember,
exactly.
like you need to be like, there's got to be some propulsion forward and like momentum. And then it like brings out the full characteristic of
Yeah.
the shoe. And so, I mean, I appreciate that they didn't change too much of the shoe because I think if it works
Mm-hmm.
for you, I mean, it's a hard shoe to go slow in.
Yeah, exactly. The first time I put them on and started going for a run, so I'm like in that return to run phase, and I'm on phase 2, which is really exciting. Multiple days back to back.
Amazing.
We'll get to that soon. But the first time I took them out, I always start with a 5 to 10 minute walk just to get warmed up. And I found myself, maybe you're like this. My wife gets so annoyed of me because I just sing kind of about anything that's on my mind and go to like some sort of melody, whistling, humming, maybe singing out loud. But I was singing in my head like that song, "These Boots Are Made for Walking."
Yeah.
But I was singing, "These shoes aren't made for walking. They're just meant to run." And that's exactly what I felt. Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
so that was my first. Yeah.
I was gonna say, if I heard you whistling, I'd probably want to wring the neck. Like whistling, compulsive whistling. I'm like, oh, you've got to shut up. I can't.
Yeah.
But I think that song, I would appreciate it because it's so true with the shoe.
So true.
Okay, but I want your take because when we chatted to them at TRE, they said they fixed a lot of the heel issues, which I had that in the first model, and the sizing in the first model feels different than the sizing in the new version. So maybe
I think it's worth saying like sizing has been pretty much fixed. So I went initially in the first version, I went in past Adidas Terrex models. You'd have to go like a half size up or more to fit into it comfortably. And so we did that for sizing on the first one, and it was like 2 sizes too big. So I usually wear a 10.5, and it was closer to like, I ended up giving that pair to a friend who wears size 12 to 12.5. Fits great. And so that was the issue. So then I went down, like a full size, and then it was weirder in different areas, but I ended up doing like a race in that size. Lengthwise, it was great, but it kind of pressed if you have a wider forefoot. I felt that on the outside, had some big blisters on the outside of my forefoot, and also had that heel rubbing for sure. Like there just wasn't enough protection or structure to really support fast racing on a lot of different terrain. And so like it was a great shoe because like you said, it just really felt great to run in. Like the race I did was Sonoma 25 miler, and I was out of shape, and I think I ran better than what kind of shape I was in, partly because of that shoe. Like I think it's that level of like significant type of shoe. And so what they really wanted to do was kind of correct some of those. And in my mind so far, the heel itself seems to be, they added some more padding and a little more structure. They added like a little strip, more firm overlay around the heel. And so I feel like that piece is fixed. But so far, I have probably one more run to do to really, before I get into doing a full review. I'm having kind of the opposite of irritation. So instead of on the medial side up near the heel collar, or instead of the lateral side, now it's the other way around. So instead of the medial side from the first version, I'm having some rubbing on the lateral side of the heel collar.
Didn't they say that they changed the shape, that it was intentionally like bigger on one side and smaller on the other?
Exactly. And so I think that's where like David Roach, he wears that first version, has killed so many course records, wears that one all the time, and he said he doesn't like the second version. I don't subscribe to his Patreon, so I don't know exactly why he doesn't like it, but I would bet that's one of the reasons, because of that heel, the previous heel construction really worked for him. This one's going to be altered and kind of puts tension in different areas. I do want to take this on a little bit quicker of single track just to make sure. So that's kind of my last run. And then in the previous version and on the lateral side is where I got like a lot of irritation on my pinky toe. But this time I'm having it kind of above my big toe. So it's moved to the medial side. So it's like bilateral irritation as opposed to the other one.
Interesting.
So, yes. So maybe have you had any of that?
No, I think I'm stuck in a little bit of sizing paralysis where part of me is like, okay, now the heel feels looser, but I'm wondering if it's just a sizing issue for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like this year, I mean, once we get to our like reflections, I think one of them is like, do I have oddly shaped feet? Because the sizing that I have changes so significantly with every shoe brand. And I'm like, I just think I have a really narrow heel and a really low volume foot. And my toes are not like, they're not like, I don't know, they don't like fit into like a pointy toe box. Like pointy toe boxes annoy me. I need definitely like, I don't know, I don't want like a topo toe box, but like I like a snug fit, low volume.
Yeah.
And this one, I feel like I definitely have to tie
You need to
it.
get in some Innovate shoes, especially as they've are. Yeah. Okay. I feel like that's.
I mean, so far, I think like I'm going to test it out today again, and I'm going to do some speed work on like flatter-ish trails, just to kind of see what it feels like going fast. Because I've run in it, but like on like casual kind of chill runs, and so now I'm like, okay, like let's see what happens when you take it to like interval, doing like tempo pace, because I think that's probably where it's going to shine the most.
Yeah. So in your initial runs, is this a candidate for Black Canyon?
No, I think it's a little too unstable for me. Yeah.
Okay.
I think,
and your ankles.
Yeah. My ankles are so, like, they swell now just randomly, which is, like, not a great sign. But, and I've found that if I have too aggressive of a rocker, it, like, really aggravates it. And so I have to be, so something more along the lines of, like, the 05 is kind of what I'm thinking.
Wonder if we can get you an early edition of the 055.
I know. I'm trying to, because I'm a little skeptical on if the 05 can be comfortable for that like long. 9+ hours.
Yeah. This will just have to be a whole nother episode. We'll get to your shoe options. We'll talk through them for Black Canyon, because that's coming up. Yeah, that's next year, right? That's next year.
Let's talk about
this episode.
This year.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this year. And obviously, if you're listening to this is right around Christmas. This should come out on Christmas Eve. So Merry Christmas to all who out there listening. We're just going to kind of talk about some of our reflections from this year. And we did do a reflection, like a summer reflection in terms of events. Was that our first episode that we did?
It was.
Yeah. And so, of course, there's a lot of highlights from those events that, there's, as I was jotting some things down, there's obviously pieces within those highlights that were like great in terms of reflection. So we won't touch a ton on like those whole events. We go back to that episode, go back to Carl's beautiful documentaries on all the events we went to throughout the year. But this is just more personal reflections. Yep. So what do you got?
I want you to kick us off.
Okay. So here's one thing of like lotion actually works. That's one of my reflections.
Getting deep. Wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that bombshell.
Yeah, because I have to look at myself so much more often, and it's not just children, going to a new career. I'm like, wow, I look so tired all the time. Part of that's just being a parent, a husband, and like for fun, what do? I go out and chop wood, like if I'm not running, of course. And so, of course, that kind of lifestyle. And I get up at 4:30 every morning. And so having to look at myself on camera more often, I'm like, wow, I'm looking tired. little ragged every now and then. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with looking like a mountain man. But
Do you have a skincare routine?
well, I don't have a full skincare routine outside of just putting lotion on when I remember. And so that ends up being like between 2 and 5 days a week just on my face. And you know what? It also helps with being outside in the wind right now, like having a little layer of protection. I don't come back from runs just full blotchy red. And yeah, I would like to be healthy even in my epidermis for my whole life. So I've kind of taken on moisturizing.
I love that for you.
I've got a lot more, but that was one.
Okay, that was pretty
I was just thinking
deep.
about
I
that
don't
last
think I can
night.
top that. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah,
This
I've got some
industry
deeper ones.
with
Don't worry.
lotions, it's not just snake oil.
Yep. Ooh, but I mean, Thomas has
actually-
talked about his beef tallow, and I've used that a few times, and fine. It's just kind of weird throwing beef tallow on your face right before you go to sleep.
Yeah, we got to get you into some like bougie oils. I'm all about the oil game.
Okay.
There's a really cool company in Colorado. What is iSun? Their stuff smells so good, and I just like.
Okay, are you diffusing stuff right now, or are you just talking about
No.
like skin oils? Okay.
I'll like put it on my hands and face, and before I go to bed because it just smells good and it feels like aromatherapy, and it's moisturizing. Not that I have like a skincare routine, like I don't remember to brush my hair, so that's skincare routines are low on the priority list.
Yeah, with all the other things going on.
Yeah.
Okay, what's a reflection you have?
I think it's kind of the same as what I've had most years, which it just gets reiterated the older I get, which is like, yeah.
Can I pause real quick? Are you the type of person that you like get to the end of the year and you feel like something new is coming, and so like the year is ending? Obviously the calendar changes, but some people just like it just like keeps on going like normal life. And I do like the time. I think the holidays just do this for us, of like gives you time to just kind of sit and reflect if you choose to. I'm kind of always in my head. I just mull over stuff all the time. So it's kind of like part of what I do all the time. Just think about my skincare routines and stuff. Maybe a little more than that. But like, are you that kind of person who the end of the year and the beginning of the year is a really influential time for you?
No, not really. Like, I think for me, it's not influential, but I think if there's not like certain periods of the year, and maybe it's coinciding with a birthday or an anniversary, there's like a date or something where you do kind of take an inventory of what's happened. I mean, and maybe this is too simplistic, but I think maybe what separates us from other animals is that we have the ability to reflect, kind of take a self-inventory of our life, of our relationships, and kind of see where, if we want to improve or if we want to work on areas or what we're really proud of. I think that really is like what separates us, I hope. And, like our thumbs. But I think like it's a good time just to kind of look back, because it does feel like the end of something, the beginning of it. But like, I don't think I'm not someone who like makes a resolution, I guess.
Yeah. I guess I'm pretty much in that same page, but it like does, I think it just, naturally offers the time. So I do reflect more, and it is like for runners kind of typically in between, right? Like halfway. I've done all this year. Here's what I'm looking ahead to next year, and this is what I can change it. It feels like a natural time in that sense. So I derailed your reflection, though. Thanks for explaining that, though.
No derail. I mean, everything that we talk about is a derailment.
This is the episode of derailments.
But I think every year I just feel more and more solidified in my idea that I I have no FOMO. I never feel like I am missing out, or I want to never feel that way. And I say that because I'm like, okay, when I think about how I quote spend my time, and spend is a loose term. Like it never comes into our possession in my view. It's happening whether we spend it or not. So anytime there's a decision to do or not do something, I think for me, I'm always like, is this exactly how I want to spend my time? Like, is it going to be helpful for someone else if I do this? Is it going to make me feel fulfilled? Like, there's a lot of things I think about because I don't think I should do anything, like I am not necessarily obligated, outside of like certain obligations, I guess, but like,
Yeah.
I'm never like, oh, I should do this because it's a means to an end. It's really like, this sounds really fulfilling. This sounds like it's going to bring me a lot of joy. And like, I think this year is another one of those times where I'm like, I really think I made like good use of my time, where like, I guess for instance, like, okay, if I went to Western States, I said yes to that, which meant I said no to a lot of other things.
Yeah, inherently. Yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, I was like, yeah, like that was worth it. Like I felt like I really got a lot out of that. And the same can be said for like minor things where I'm like, oh, I spent these days with George. Like that was exactly what I needed to do. Or I didn't go to some family thing because like I didn't want to and I don't feel obligated to. So I think for me this year just maybe solidifies more like that, like making decisions for myself based on like doing what feels right is great, and it still feels good, and I've never felt like I'm like missing out. I'm like more secure in like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. You're making me think of my coach, DT, Dale Thompson, the wisest guy I've like ever met. And he would often like use like true training principles, and then he'd always have something embedded in there. And one of those things was like, you have an allowance, so use it wisely. And of course, on face value, that's like your weekly mileage, right? Each of us has an allowance. Your allowance might be a little bit different than my allowance. And how are we going to spend that to get the most out of it? So you're just making me think of that, of like, in terms of like time, a year is a certain allowance, right? And the amount of things you could or don't want to or should do is up to us to spend. But you also mentioned like, it's never really in our possession. So it's going to go by and be gone, whether we do something with it or not.
Yeah. And I think there's this book
that's much deeper
really
than
good.
motion.
Yeah. Well, there's this book that's really good if anyone's interested. It's called like 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals. And it's not like actual time management. It's just that like we generally have 4,000 weeks on this planet, given the average lifespan. You aren't guaranteed those. Like I could croak tomorrow. And so it's all about making decisions and prioritizing the things that really matter over the things that like we think we should do, or like the unnecessary tasks, but really focusing on like the big things. And so like looking back, I was like, even like JFK, I was like, thinking I was going to do that 20 years after I had done it, because like for some reason I was like, oh, 20 years seems cool. And then I was like, well, I'm not guaranteed to be here. I should just do it now. And so I feel like I'm that person that's always like, if not now, when? Like, do it now. Like that big bucket list thing, do it now. Because I think pushing it off is also kind of pushing off the idea that I'm like, you're going to die. Like, as morbid as that sounds, like accepting that kind of prioritizes. You're like, oh my God, I should be doing meaningful things with the people I love as often as I can.
Yeah. And I mean, opportunity is something you don't get all that often unless you're like, even when you strive for some sort of opportunities, like, and that was kind of one of my big reflections this year too, of like, even with this job, like I had worked 10 years and finally feeling like a professional and had my best school year ever. Like if every school year could be that way, I think there would be a lot of just really excited, life-filled teachers out there, but every school year is not. Like that's the kind of school year I had. Finally felt like I was able to really invest in my team, do everything that was needed for my classroom. Also like showed on like test scores and all that kind of stuff. Like I loved it. But then the opportunity to do this full-time came up, and it was like that would be gone really quickly if I didn't take it. So like I feel like my wife and I, we took some time to think about it and even reflect then of like, is this what we need or what we want, or even individually? And so like that was huge for me to even take that leap, like opportunity, like you're saying. Because maybe if I didn't take it, I would probably be doing just fine, right?
Right.
And that's okay. But I did take the opportunity, and that was one of the huge things for me, obviously, this year, like complete career shift, lifestyle shift. And within that, the biggest thing for me was flexibility. Like I've never had flexibility as an adult. Besides like my wife and I, first year, we worked at the YMCA of the Rockies together. We lived in a hotel room for our first year of marriage,
Oh my
all
God.
food and all that. And we worked together. And so like, that was the most carefree year of our whole lives. And everything after that, being a teacher, you have zero flexibility. And then being a parent, less flexibility, you know, like that kind of stuff. And now I'm experiencing flexibility for the first time, and how even just taking this opportunity was worth the flexibility of like,
I love that.
yeah. Like even down to like, I went and had lunch with my daughters the other day. Even if I was a teacher and would see them in the hallway, like I wouldn't have the opportunity to have lunch because it never lines up. Or like my wife and I have been doing Tuesday coffee dates every Tuesday, 9 a.m. We sit down and have coffee together. That's a time we haven't had in a long time. We'd have to like, we would try doing a date every month, but you know, with life and kids and everything going on, that's just a hope. But to be able to have the flexibility because of this opportunity, like that's mattered a lot to me. I didn't realize how much flexibility could be had, along with just having a really fun, exciting career. Like that's weird too.
Well, and it sounds like from what you're saying, it kind of harkens back to just that spending time where I'm like, you're not missing out anymore. Like it sounds, I mean, obviously you loved teaching, but now you're like, oh, the time I do have, it's flexible enough that I get to spend the quality time with the people I love and care about the most. And like nothing matters more than that in the world, which makes me cry.
Nothing does matter more than that. And even down to the point of like our Believe in the Run team getting to spend time together, right? Of like, because of this opportunity, we as a whole crew, not just Dirt Division, but all of Believe in the Run, have been able to spend more time together and develop those relationships. And those have become not just working relationships to me, but like really special friendships. And so those are the things that like really stick out to me this year of like, yeah.
Well, it's really funny because I was telling George the other night, I was like, yeah, Taylor and I were talking on the podcast about how I've traveled with the Believe in the Run crew more than I've probably traveled with you.
Yeah.
And he doesn't take offense to that. But he was like, it's interesting because if you traveled for work, you wouldn't like say that you're traveling with your work colleagues more than you're hanging out with me. He's like, but because the Believe in the Run crew is like this little friend group, whether or not like, and it's work, but it's like a group of friends that get to travel. He's like, you're not classifying it as like, you know, this is work travel, which agreed. Like I wouldn't if work was like, hey, you got to travel 30% of the time, like I wouldn't be like, oh man, I'm spending so much crazy fun time with the people I work with. But with Believe in the Run, I'm like, oh no, we're just like hanging out at like the coolest events with fun people. And
Yeah.
so it's a bonding experience. And y'all have seen different sides of me that, I'm like, a neurotic traveler. Like, like work doesn't have to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. And like in all that, to your point, it all just tends to come down to like relationships is a huge part of it. And I'm just kind of realizing like, prioritizing life when you start reflecting of like, what are the few things that actually really make you a better person? And if you're a better person, obviously you're going to be able to invest in others and help them become their better and best self, and all that. Of like, relationships have obviously boiled to the top of that, always have for me. Flexibility, like I said, like that's been a huge weird thing to be able to manage, because even with that I have to manage of like, am I going to do an interview with you right now, or could I go do the dishes? I could, like that kind of flexibility, it's all about choice and how I'm using it. But like, yeah, relationships, flexibility, and then just like, seems cliche, but truly doing something you're passionate about. I'm passionate about kids and growing their futures, absolutely. But there's also something to be said about like this thing that I've kind of built my life around in terms of like running. It's like the only hobby I really have, lots of relationships. Like it ends up being all inclusive, right? So maybe we're some of the lucky few that have been able to build a life, whether intentionally or just through opportunity, that kind of includes all those, and we have the ability to prioritize. Like that's what I guess what I'm saying is I'm just really thankful for like, even 4 months over the year, I haven't even been able to run, but I'm just still so thankful for the year. Like that doesn't even come close to all the other positives from the year of 2025.
I was actually going to ask about that, because I guess like when you look back, right, like you took a huge chance of quitting the job that you had worked on for a decade. And you're out on a limb with Believe in the Run, managing the dirt division, kind of growing this, and then you get injured, and you have a ton of free time, and it used to probably be filled with activity. So when you reflect back, like where are you at now, like in a headspace of like, I guess like, yeah, where is your headspace at, like looking back at like how you've managed this? And yeah, I'm curious.
Well, this is how I knew. It was one of like the moments of the year that really helped me like just reaffirm like all these events and stuff we go to, it's fun, exciting. We get to do a lot, experience a lot, and all that's valuable. But one of the things that really affirmed my like changing career, and like it's big for all of us, like it's a risk on everybody's end, right? Of like this kind of job just doesn't typically exist. But I knew that once the Leadville experience, even though I knew I was going into it and had my foot explode on me, basically, I knew I was going to be okay once, like, one, I got that first hug from my wife, and then from my mom, and then even in my failure, sitting there, like, we were at a house, you could just hear Winfield, like the biggest aid station, you could hear it in the background. Like we heard when David Roach came through, Am Flower came through, you just hear the roar the whole time, even though it's like a mile away. And I'm just sitting there, my daughters are laying in between my legs. I'm salty, sweaty, disgusting after 50 miles. I'm sad and really, really bummed and hurting. And they're just like cuddling in my lap, and both of them fell asleep. And like, that's the moment that really sticks out to me of like, no matter if I can or can't run, like there's a lot of value in what we're setting out to do. And then following that up of Thomas right away, just right away, like really supported me. It wasn't like, oh no, you can't run. How are you going to do your job and bring value to Believe in the Run? He's like, I know some things we can do. Here are some things we're going to focus on, and it's going to be okay. Like, that mattered so much to me to hear that from him. And that, again, comes down to the relationship and this kind of like really special ecosystem of like being able to have like a family friend vibe within. It feels like I'm in a family business and like everything was going to be okay. So all of that risk and kind of like trial through the summer felt really validated when I couldn't do the thing I was hired to do. Like, and
Part
so
of being a gear reviewer is running in the gear.
yeah. And so that's kind of been my reflection on that. And I knew it from that time. As frustrating as it is, and again, it's like my only hobby, only thing I really want to do is either spend time with my friends and family or run. Like, like that's just what I desire to do. And yeah, and it was all okay. It's all okay. And I'm on the road back, and that's all great too. But it also brings me to another reflection of like, maybe there should be a little bit more than just running. I've kind of thought about that as I got a bike, to review for a little while. That was really gracious, and that review should be coming out soon. It's I got some skis. Can you see them back? Oh yeah.
Oh,
Wait,
hell
right
yeah.
there. Yeah.
That's
Some skis.
awesome.
Fisher sent me some skis. And so just like starting to promote that other, being more well-rounded can actually make you stronger and appreciate the things you love anyways.
I
so-
totally agree with that. I think maybe in like a similar fashion, but this like all goes back to like me being like, am I spending my time doing the things I love? And like for some reason I like pushed horseback riding. I was like, no, I'm going to save that. And I'm like, what am I saving this for? Like, one, it's just like it's a pain. It's expensive. It like is super time consuming. I'm like training a ton for running, and I'm like, how am I going to add in like riding 3 days a week to my schedule of already like an insane amount of running? But I'm like, if it matters, I'm going to do it. And I'm like,
can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
Of like, I know you're a really introspective person, and like your major, right, in college was equine science. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay. And so like, I know that was a very different time of life for you. And do sometimes you attribute your equine history to that time and you're kind of pushing it off till later?
Like eating disorder time, or
well, not just like that time of life. It was very different, right? Of like,
yeah. I think like I was just so, because I worked on like thoroughbred racing farms, like the Sheik of Dubai, like crazy. And I think I got like really burnt out because you're just working so much in Kentucky. And I think I just kind of like, I don't know, I was young and I was just like, oh, I'm really into running now and directing the Telluride Mountain Run and like starting that and then working at Specialized. And so I was like really wrapped up in outdoor industry, and like I think I was always like, oh, I'll get back into this other sport when I have time or when I can't run, because running feels so like time constrained, where I'm like, okay, like I really am like getting to the end of like when I could actually be competitive. Like if I should really focus on that if I want to be like good at it, I guess. And I think like, when was it? When did I start riding again? It was probably like in February or something, where I was just like, I think I like something's like missing. I don't think I was like super happy at like the job I was doing, which is like a tech company. I'm not believing the run. I wasn't like super happy. And so I was like, running is great, but like, let me find like a non-aerobic way of finding fulfillment, or not fulfillment is the right word, just finding like a bit of joy. And I was like, oh, like I love horseback riding. Why have I been pushing this off for some later date when I can't run. I'm like, I should just do it again. I should do it now. And I got back into it. And it's, oh my God, being a beginner as like a 37-year-old and like riding with, I'm riding with the instructor's daughter who is in, I think she's in middle school, and she's just great. Like, she's awesome. And there are so many people that are just like so much better than me, but it's really nice to kind of be like, oh, I'm afraid of jumping like 2'9" right now or 2'6", and I'm like, this is really intimidating, and being proud of myself for doing these things. I think like, yeah, that was just like really fun to get back into it. And I've been like trying not to buy a horse. Like, I don't want to, I can't afford that.
Come on. Yeah, you travel too much for it.
Yeah, talk about a financial drain. But I think it's, again, like I don't want to be like a polarized kind of person. Like I definitely have an outdoor based personality, but I don't want to have like just like a monomaniacal personality, I guess. And I mean, like meeting the other folks, like other communities, and I like being bad at something. Like I think it's an ego kick for sure.
Well, I mean, to that point, that's exactly how I felt like entering a new career. Like there's so much to learn, but it was also so exciting because of that, of like, and in maybe both of our case, like I felt like there was obviously you want to execute. And I feel like that's probably part of our personality types of like, we want to execute and we want to do it really well if we're doing something. But also I felt immediately like the net of security, like it's okay if I fail. Like, and I feel that kind of every day, or like kind of like a, who cares if you fail type thing of like, that's just kind of out there in these new things. So I've definitely felt that too, but I think you should get a horse.
Yeah.
What would you name it?
There's so many choices. I love naming things. George wants me to get one. He wants a mule. But I'm like, it's just such
get a mule and a horse.
Yeah, it's just such a money and time commitment. I'm like, oh man, leasing the horse is great.
But joy is a currency too.
Fair. I think sometimes I look at my little app that tells me like when I can retire, and I'm like, what am I saving this money for? Like, I don't know what's gonna happen in like 50 or 30 years. I don't know. I'm like, maybe I should just spend it all right now. Just be happy now.
Get an RV, a trailer for your mule and your horse.
Yeah. Maybe next year is the year that I just like wing it. I can't do that. It's just not my personality. I'm definitely like a saver, a planner. As much as I want to be like carefree and laissez-faire, I'm just not. It's just not my personality. And I'm very methodical. And it took me, we're buying like a new living room, dining room situation. And I like spiral on making a decision to buy anything for like weeks. I can't buy a rug right now because I'm like, this is so opulent. I'm being so irresponsible with my money. So buying a horse feels like a horrible financial decision, and it is. but
financial is just one level of life, right?
Yeah. I think that's always good to remember. I think one of my friends was telling me this. They're like, this is not an investment. Like, you're not trying to make a good financial decision. Like, you're trying to make a happiness.
Yeah, horse will never be a good financial decision.
No. Like, this is a happiness
wall of
decision.
Shoes? Maybe.
Yeah. And I think, like, for me, spending money again, like in the nature of reflection, I really try to spend my money on people and experiences because, like, which is weird coming from a gear reviewer. But let me get to the gear part.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I will buy gear or things that are going to make my experiences and memories better. And I have no problem. Like that to me is a good investment. So I'm like, if there's a running trip that I want to go on with my friends and I need new gear, or I need something for it, like absolutely. Like if it's going to make my experience and like those memories great, 1000%, like that's a great investment for me. Like memories are the big decision maker. Like
So
I'm a quality time person.
is there something that you had to go out on a financial limb or be decisive about this year that you're like, that was worth it?
I think running the Tonto Trail in the Grand Canyon was a pretty big expense. We like drove down to the Grand Canyon, long drive, very expensive. Stayed at the Grand Canyon, also quite expensive. But I'm like, whew, the Tonto Trail, like what a mind-bending experience. Like it was so cool. Like I can't even, like I get emotional. I'm just like, oh my God, that was so cool. So it was worth it, clearly.
Yeah, obviously. You should
If
take
anyone-
the photo from the end of that and frame it and
Oh
put
my
it on your wall
God.
just to remember.
Yeah, it's well, I love that that's the picture that I asked the team to use for the Women Trail Reviewer post. Is like me just looking absolutely destroyed. And I was like, I was in a bad spot.
Salty and destroyed.
Yeah, I just like got to the top after like what seemed like, you know, at the Grand Canyon, you like go down and you are in this like underworld. And I was down there for like way longer than I had anticipated. It ended up being like 12 hours. It was harder than rim to rim to rim. Come back up and there's just like tourists around. And I'm having like, I'm crying. I have salt all over me. Like I look awful. And I was like,
They have no idea what you just experienced.
yeah, I'm like, you have no clue what just happened. Like, you got to go below the rim. It's different down there. And I'm like this crazy person on the top. But it's like, I think like I really get addicted to that feeling of the logistics, the planning, and then the execution and just being like physically spent. And like a race can't necessarily do that, but it's that like that whole thing together where I'm like, I want that to happen again. And I just haven't found what I want that to be, what route for 2026. So maybe when we do what are we hopeful for?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
I'll figure it out. But right now I'm like, I don't know. There's some places in this world that like, I think people just get hooked on. And for me, it's the canyons. Like,
Yeah.
bring me there anytime. Yeah.
Yeah. I think of, I had this written down too, but under like financial investments, we also bought a wood burning stove for our house. And so
I love that.
Like we've had fireplaces, they were gas, but there's this one room we call the sunroom, and it just has a couch, a chair, and then it had a gas stove that we pulled out and like the week we moved in. We're like, we don't want that. It's too old, fire hazard. Just got rid of it. But I've always wanted a wood burning stove. And so like even over the last couple of years, I've just made wood stacks because I'm like, someday I'm going to have one. And then like, obviously with, in where we live, very rural, middle of the mountains, if the power goes out, there goes our propane heat and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, okay, we just need to invest and get one. But not only from like just a security measure of like having heat when the power goes out. It's happened twice in the last 2 weeks. Thank you to the wind. Like we have a heat source for our family. And like, and it's really nice because there's no communication back here. If I lose Wi-Fi, there's no cell service, nothing. And so from that standpoint, it's been great. But what we really wanted is that throughout the summer, that room is actually warm enough to be in. It's just big windows, basically like a 3-season porch There's no insulation, anything like that. It's carpeted, finished off, whatever. But in the winter, we would just close it off because there's like the exterior door comes in, and then there's another door that comes into our living space. So we have this whole area that we love to be in and spend so much time. Like that's where the girls read. We all just like chat in that room. And so getting a wood burning stove, like that's the warmest room in our house of like by far. So everybody just gravitates there during the winter, and just like, it's just so special. So the thousands of dollars we spent on something like that, much more thousands than I thought it would be, is still worth it. Like that's the best investment all year. I just like sit there in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, start fire, looking at the Christmas tree, drinking some coffee. Like individually it's great, but just because it's a communal space, that was by far the best investment of the year.
Okay, so that explains. So when you always say like, hey, I'm chopping wood, I'm like, I always want to ask, I'm like, do you just enjoy doing this? But again, it sounds like it ties back to that family, communal thing. Because it's like, this is a means to bonding, to being close with one another. Is that
it
accurate?
Feels, that's very accurate. So like chopping wood is like sevenfold for me. Of like one, it's, energy, saving money. 2, you're getting heat. The most important definitely is that like communal part, because I knew that's where we would be. So it has all that, but also like I don't like going to a gym. Like besides college, I've never loved being in a gym.
No.
And so like it's also my gym time. I'm pulling around a sled all the time, chopping wood, doing all that kind of stuff. It's also a great time to be outside. So chopping wood is just a time that fulfills a lot of great things for me.
Is it meditative for you?
Yes. Yep.
What do you think about while you're
systematic.
chopping wood?
Especially since I've been injured, I found that like even like riding bike, I couldn't get into the same like deep thought that I would when I'd be running. And so even chopping wood, I feel like I can get into like deeper reflection, deeper thought, like just kind of be methodical about something. Of course, you got to be careful with an axe and a chainsaw and all that kind of stuff. But kind of like when you're running, you got to be careful on the trails not to blow your ankles out, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I found it, especially in this time of being injured, it has kind of filled that void a little bit. But also it's like, yeah, there's just a lot of great things about it for me personally right now. And so, yeah, chopping wood.
Yeah. I feel like I'm waiting for that introspection article or something that you write on. It's like the art of motorcycle maintenance. It's this book, but you got to have the art of chopping wood and how it brings you closer to yourself and your family.
Well, honestly, all of these reflections that I wrote down here and that we've talked about, and I have a much bigger list that we could talk about. All of them came from chopping wood, like while I was chopping wood. I'm like, oh, I got to go write that down. There's another one. Like, and maybe that's the thing of like, maybe, and I've thought about this too, especially with being injured, of like the space that running creates for me isn't just a space for running. And there will be a day where I can't run. Hopefully that's not sooner than later. But if it were to come to that, of like, how would I be able to get not just the same fulfillment, but like the same awareness, the same needs in terms of just like quiet, reflective time, like in like a spiritual space, really. Like running is very much that for me. And so, yeah, I've kind of wrestled with that too, of like, what other things
can you
should I
expand
be
on
doing?
that? Like, how is it a spiritual place for you, if you don't mind me asking?
So kind of unique to my life story of like, when I started getting into running, and it was initially like for the competitive things of like early on, I knew that I was kind of good at it and like found some success, and success feels good. and I even like didn't want to do it because my brother was doing it. But then once I like, it happened to be like once I started getting into doing running and the community space it gave me as a young teenager, it was also the time where I was really exploring faith, like on my own.
Yeah.
Like in my timeline, like early life, the idea of faith and God and all that was just like, felt like a book knowledge, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
So like this time in life was like where I was like genuinely curious and I wanted to explore it.
Yeah.
And so like when those two, both running and this faith experience, kind of started at the exact same time. And I've just kind of noticed in my reflection of life in general of like, they've both grown more or less linearly together. And so like, yeah. And so like the space of running has kind of always been met with this spiritual realm for me. And I think the personality wise, even as an individual, like to really like feel myself, I really need to be either alone or with this really tight, small group of people. And like, that's where kind of like I find revelation and true life and all that of like, kind of like the deeper things. And so that's just my experience of like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, thank you. I think sometimes in running or like with me, and I don't know if this is just because like I'm like an indecsensory, like I need like a lot of like light touches are not like, they really drive me nuts. I'm someone who like needs a lot of input. And I think running or physical activity is a way that I can get that sensory input to like, okay, yes, I know I'm strong or I know I'm alive. Like I know I'm this, but I'm like, I want to feel it. Like I really need, I need to feel like all cylinders kind of going. And whether that's like physically like exhausting myself or not exhausting, but just like physically moving or if that's just like, I need to be moving to allow like those like natural introspection thoughts or like sense of connectedness to a larger picture. And for me, it's just like being in nature makes me feel connected broadly with everything. There's something
And
about
of course
the
that's
movement.
definitely part of it too.
Yeah.
Of like space with
That's
space
getting more
within a
into like
space
the
within a space.
esotericness.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think that there's like a mind body nature something connection that
Absolutely.
I do miss if I'm not running.
Yeah. And that was like part of it too, of like, especially a couple of years ago when I broke my foot, like this is the most major injury I had had up until that point. And like, initially I'm like, okay, well, this would be not only a good physical test of like, can I come through the other side, but it was interesting to me to experience that on the spiritual realm too, of like, since these two things have always kind of gone hand in hand together, more or less, of like, I've happened to experience growth in one and then growth in other. And, you know, if one of them's gone, what happens to the other? And so like that was an interesting, experiment or just reflection too from a couple years ago, and kind of prove the same here of, like thankfully my views, whether or my spiritual experiences don't waver with just running, definitely enhanced.
That's good.
And I think that all goes back to space though, right? Of like, because I have the space and time to be there, to cultivate that's, of course it's going to feel stronger or more connected. And so
the next thing you know, you're going to be doing mushrooms and going on a run and you're going to be finding like 12 gods out there and you're going to be like, love is the answer.
Love is always the answer. Let's be honest.
I mean, take mushrooms, see, and find out.
I think I've steered away from that purposefully, knowing some, even addictive tendencies within running.
It's not addictive.
I don't think.
From experience, it's not addictive.
Yeah.
It's
But maybe
more
the
challenging
experience
than
would
addictive.
be, yeah. Yeah. Talk about mind bending.
Yeah. Oh my God. For sure. The Believe in the Run crew is going to be like, damn it, these Colorado hippies.
Pushing mushrooms on folks.
It'd be a fun podcast,
But I was going
though.
to, yeah. Well, I do have, so an acquaintance, he has a podcast, and it's a cycling podcast, like extreme hardcore experiences. But while they do the podcast, they're on different things.
Man,
And
could
so-
not do that.
And then they talk about their experiences on whatever they're doing while riding. And I'm like, I can't ride being fully coherent with a little bit of caffeine. Like,
No.
I can't
even
imagine
be in
myself.
public. No, I'm like way too anxious of a person. I'm like, everyone, I need to be indoor. I need to not be around people I don't know right now. I'm gonna
In
freak
some
out.
ways, I do get an appreciation though, because there's also a couple backcountry badass dudes in town. They're like dads, they're managers of the local mountain shop, ski guys, and they can blow past me going uphill while smoking a joint. I'm just like, how
Go for it, man.
physically? What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild. But before we really head out,
Yeah.
just in kind of like a boom, boom, boom fashion,
Yep.
are there some moments from the year like, oh, I think of 2025, I'm going to think of this, and this? Positive or negative?
Positive or negative? Let's see. Tonto Trail for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. I think spraining my ankle multiple times. I think just like generally, I'm like, this is a bad year of the ankle.
Yeah.
I think meeting the Believe in the Run crew in person at different times of the year, I think that was really fun for me. Trying to think. I think doing my first like 2.6 course in a really long time, that was like, oh my God, thank goodness. That was fun. Because the horse I ride is pokey and he struggles. Don't we all? Don't we all? I don't know. I think those are the big ones that I can think of, like just like right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think of like a couple of long runs that I did, and almost always my long runs are solo. And I just really like that, of like going up to Odessa Lake in the Rocky Mountain National Park, one of my favorite lakes, but making it like I think it was like a 28-mile loop. And so like that, obviously those types of runs were highlights, and just being able to do it from like I honestly struggle with like thinking of my life as a runner, and like running is not just something I do for fun anymore or to provide that spiritual space. It's like my job. So like it just, in a surreal way, like some of those long runs felt surreal. Like I'm testing all this gear, but also running because it's my job.
Right.
And so some of those will stick out for those reasons. Again, going back to flexibility, like the Tuesday morning coffee dates with my wife are just, we've never been able to have that as long as we've had kids, or just like the careers we have. So that's really been really special. I went on a hike with my sister, and we just never get alone time together. Like in our whole adult life, I don't know if we've ever just gotten time, just her and I. It's always with kids or with other people, which I love, but that was just a really special time for us. And then the whole Leadville experience is just kind of drastic as it was toward the end. Like everything else about it was great, and I feel like I've been able to learn a lot from the experience itself, and even like learning to be, I guess, publicly vulnerable.
Yeah.
There was just so many people who were so gracious and kind with being able to share an experience like that. And so I definitely appreciate that. And then like a bunch of other like little things, like, yeah, being with the Believe in the Run crew at multiple different events. I one that sticks out is like Thomas and I doing the VK in Chamonix, and then also like paragliding. So just unique time with Thomas, I guess. Yeah. Well, and like we had breakfast too of like when we were at TRE, like there were some just great times, individual times. Yeah. So a lot of things like I just get to this point and I'm like, wow, what a year. Like I feel like sometimes I just get so much into my day. Like when you expand it and think about the year, it's like, wow. It's been a while. 2025.
It's crazy. I will say one last thing is my year, I'm like, okay, cool. I've done some fun stuff. But I'm like, George being the number one supporter of like doing quality time things with me is probably I'm the most difficult person to spend quality time with, because I'm not like, hey, let's go do this thing.
Because you're always going to bed. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, do you want to help me with the Grand Canyon? It'll require you to run 27 miles and like 8,000 feet of vert. Or let's go run JFK 50 together, even though you're not really an ultra runner. And he's like down. He is the things that man will do for quality to make me feel good is beyond. And like, definitely don't
do anything for love.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I'm like, oh shoot, what am I? We'll plan a bike trip. That's a little easier than running 50 miles. I get out easy.
Maybe sometime. But I feel like he's hooked. I feel like 2026 is George's year of going hard into trail running. Harder than he already has.
Yeah. But, okay. I feel good about this year. Yeah. And as always, hopeful for whatever next year brings. And I'm not missing out on anything. Yeah.
Well, I feel enlightened by this experience of like just reminding us of like, time. Time is a very precious commodity, and how you choose to spend it, if you have that choice of like that's really a luxury more than a stress on anything. And so feeling luxurious.
I love it.
You don't know what to say to that.
I mean, you've got a skincare routine going, so.
I mean, that's actually a huge win.
I'm glad we started off with that, and we're ending with "You are going to die." Make sure you spend your time correctly. Yeah.
So get a quality lotion. Just kidding. I don't. I just use whatever lotion my wife has, which is probably actually pretty quality since she's a redhead. And So okay. For those who are listening, there will be no Drop Dirt Division podcast next week. So maybe take that time for you to reflect.
Yeah.
Challenge. Okay.
Peace
out.
Bye.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, New Year. All of it.
All the things.
All the things. Bye.
Bye.
Stretch, got my laces tied. My trusty podcast by my side. If you want to talk fun, it's the place to be. Yeah, it's the Drop DROP.